Check, 1, 2. Minor talk.
Why?
Yeah, nice. Perruzzi.
Hi, I'm
Move a little bit closer in.
Can we do like a barbershop quartet introduction?
There's not 4 of us.
Fuck you. We can be in the triple. I can throw my voice 2 ways. I'm like a monk.
Did you get the Tubian fucking chants going on?
Yeah, I can.
Alright.
I can hum and whistle at the same time.
Fuck.
Ladies.
Tractor beam?
3. Okay, 3, 2.
Start the show with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to this...
An extra silly edition!
This is technically the first edition, so I think that their extra silly is
still
the
gonna,
bar that's being set.
You think?
Right
I don't know. I'm going to call it extra silly.
Okay. Well, so this is going to be the first episode of what's going to be just kind of a weekly recap podcast. You know, all of our other podcasts we do are very kind of specific and have very certain subjects in mind. We wanted to do one show that was just kind of talking about different things that happened throughout the week, whether it was in the world of wrestling, different articles we put up on the website at changingthecues.com, just to kind of have a free-form show that we do that's a little bit longer and a little bit more kind of jazz style, I suppose. My name is Paul LaPorte.
Well put.
Joining me are my co-hosts Daniel Perruzzi.
Awesome!
And Michael Miner.
Why do you do that?
To tick you off.
And
it works so well.
I don't mind the Miz, and it doesn't really work that well.
You don't mind the Miz.
I don't mind
him.
him.
You mind me yelling awesome at the top of my lungs. You mind
That's what we want to do. We want to annoy our audience.
We want to blow their ears out.
This episode.
Well, if I'm annoying Miner, the audience gets enjoyment out of it. It's a double-edged sword.
There's no
nobody gets
concrete evidence.
Yeah, nobody...
I mean, it makes sense. The theory makes sense, but we have to know certain proof of it. All right. So this week in wrestling, obviously the biggest thing that happened was Payback last night. We are doing an article on the site. By the time you're listening to this, that article will probably already be up. So if you want to check out our official recap with all of my thoughts on what went down last night, you can go on and check it out over there. But I did want to talk to you guys about what you guys thought of the show in general. We don't really need to do a match-by-match thing. You can just kind of tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. So, go!
Okay, my thoughts on it was better than WrestleMania. And you can play my outro music. I'm out of here. Bye.
Spy Liner.
But seriously, you know what? It was condensed, and it's just that alone. I guess
it had the advantage of not being 7 hours long.
Yeah, and
so
that's a good
you know, you know what? Honestly, even though it was better than WrestleMania, that's not saying much.
Yeah, that is damning it with faint praise. But.
I mean, I still think we're looking a bit too harshly at WrestleMania 32. I mean,
no, we're not.
No, we're not.
You have the fair point that
by the way, I'm going to shill right now. I have a nice article coming up within the next few days. Maybe by tonight.
He took my chance to tease his thing away.
You took my thunder.
Yeah.
You wanted to take my thunder,
Guys,
and I took my thunder back.
Thunder.
You know what? Why can't we have a Nitro party? That's all I'm asking.
Nitro's been off the air.
Can we cue the Nitro music? Can we cue the Nitro music?
No, we get sued.
You had that
by who?
You had that
WWE. They owned
the
Nitro.
But they own the Nitro?
Sure they own the Nitro music.
But a lot of the music was generic. Anyway.
You have, 15 seconds before they can...
something like that. Yeah, that's true.
I think it's like 6 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Every 6 seconds.
That's all Mike needs.
Somebody plays a wrestling theme song. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Perruzzi.
You wish, Perruzzi. Anywho.
So, alright. Obviously, it was better than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I thought there were a number of very good matches. I
thought that there was good wrestling, but a lot of the endings were just bad. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
It's like it was like a rehash of last week.
Well, I guess the first one we disagree with on the most is the IC title.
Okay, here's my thing, like, with the IC title match. Like, I get... Well, actually, that's not the first thing to disagree. I didn't necessarily like the ending of the Sami Zayn-Kevin Owens match. And I guess before we get into that
I was surprised by that, too.
Obviously, Enzo Amore injured himself last night really on. That was obviously the worst part of the show.
Yeah.
Because that match was shaping up to be one of the dark horse or just flat out matches of the night. And Enzo just took this weird ass bump into the ropes. And at first it was like, oh, he's selling it, he's fine, he's just doing a really good job of selling it. Wow, he's doing a really good job of selling it. Wow, oh shit,
something's wrong.
Yeah.
So that was obviously terrible, but it looks like he will be He got a severe concussion. He's been diagnosed fine otherwise. However, I mean, severe concussion is still a really bad thing. They say, once he's cleared, he'll be able to come back. However, they haven't given him a timeline for return. I'm guessing it's going to be at least 2 to 3 months. For the simple fact that having done enough, watched enough MMA and covered enough MMA events, when you get knocked out, anytime you get knocked out, which is a knockout by definition is a concussion.
Medically suspended.
You cannot do any activity, any physical activity for 1 month. After that. That's not even including necessarily a severe concussion. So I'm betting it's going to be at least 2 to 3 months before we see Enzo and Cass back in the ring.
Isn't that a shame?
It's a super shame because this match was going to be great. I'm betting the Vaudevillains were going to win anyways. I think we all predicted that.
Yeah, I predicted
that. Most of the people on the prediction thread predicted that, and they can still go forward with that. I think that they should play it up like the Vaudevillains should have no remorse for what they did. They should brag about it.
That's the point.
They shut the unshuttable man up.
That's the point I was going to get at. Was if there's one positive to take away from this, it's going to be that the Vaudevillains are going to play it up and they're going to say, this is why we tout ourselves as the tough guys and why we model ourselves after a different era, an era of manly men.
That's going to give him great heat with the New Day, and then nuclear heat when Enzo comes back.
And
so that's going to be just so good for that. But obviously, it sucks. And there is even though he passed all of his testing, we know that concussions, even one, can really shorten a career, if not outright end it. And luckily, Enzo's good enough on the mic that he might be doing stuff well before he's cleared to come back. He could even if he could never step in a ring again, he's going to have a job there for the rest of his life just on his talking ability alone. But obviously, we want to see him back in there. So just get well soon, Enzo. And that moved into the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match. Like I said, good match, great match. They're going to put on great matches. There's no question about it. It was a little brought down because we didn't know how badly Enzo was hurt at that point. So I'm like, I can't enjoy this match. I know there's a guy who's hurt. I want to know he's okay.
Once they said he was moving his extremities, I was like, okay, this isn't like life-threatening. It comes with the job. I'm just going to try to focus on this. And as the match went on, it was easier to get back into it.
You don't think it was that serious, but you hear them talking about, he moved his extremities. It's like, wow, this is a lot more serious than I thought.
I thought it was the way he was breathing after he went down. I think that's what I texted you yesterday. Was the way he was breathing after he went down was very forced and super unnatural, and that was scary to watch.
I mean, that is...
And seeing New Day's reaction and everybody's kind of reaction at ringside.
When people come around after a knockout, they do have that kind of like that real like your whole body is kind of rebooting sort of thing. So, I mean, that was the first thing my wife noticed too, was that wow, he's breathing really weird. But, like I said, just the fact that you're like, oh, he's moving his extremities. Not like he's okay. It's like, oh, he's not paralyzed.
It's just weird.
It was still just a thing for me.
Just weird to me. We're talking about Enzo, and you're wearing a shirt with him displayed on it. It's throwing me off.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My NXT All-Day shirt.
But it's... God, I just don't know. I mean, even if Enzo can't come back from something like this, and I hope he can.
I think he will.
I think he will, too. But, just like a couple of years ago... Big Cass held his own when he was out. He was by himself. Exactly. He was by himself in NXT for a while, and he held his own, and he was starting to get over with the crowd. And I've mentioned it before. I think Cass has a big future in the company. He's a big guy. He's the kind of guy they're looking for.
Ironically enough, weren't they feuding with the Vaudevillains back then too, or at least in English and Big Cass had a thing?
I think it might have been.
I think it was right around that time.
It might have been, but I was thinking about. I think Cass broke his leg too, didn't he? He had some kind of leg injury, it was from the Revival.
That was just. I think that was a kayfabe injury. He wasn't really hurt.
I think he was.
Or if he was, it was minor.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like a serious thing. But no, it's kind of funny. Yeah. It's kind of funny that the both of them. I didn't hear him. Whatever.
I said the injury was minor, and he said that's fine.
Yeah, nobody pays attention to insignificance. Wow.
So why are you still talking?
All right, let's.
The one thing though that got lost in all that was Enzo's great cover of him dropping the mic right when he came out for the entrance.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. He just drops the mic, points to it. Whatever, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run back and grab it. I'm gonna run back again. It doesn't matter because I'm Enzo.
Yeah, kudos to that Chewbacca coat he was wearing.
Yeah, somehow I've said it before, but
poop emoji pants.
In the predictions, I somehow Enzo has gotten better since he debuted. on the main roster than he was in NXT, and he might be the save for the initial Seth Rollins people, he may be the only guy you can say that about. It seems like everybody who comes up from NXT they either are at the same level or they almost seem like their opponents are kind of backslid a little bit. Enzo has just gone through the fucking roof. I mean, everybody in that place is going crazy for him every time he comes out. And that's even worse that he has the injury now, is because they are just so red hot. I mean, when he comes back, it'll still be that much hotter, but it's just terrible timing. But moving on to the Zayn Owens match, like I said, good match, great match. Enzo being hurt kind of took away from it a little bit, or took the focus off of it at least. And it just this is 0-3. Zayn has gone against Owens in WWE matches now. And this one felt like it was one that, he was getting all the offense, he was doing, he really was in control for a lot of the match, and then Owens just pop a powerbomb, that's it, 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
But through the years, do you ever remember Sami Zayn, Generico, whatever you want to call him, actually getting a win over Owens?
Steen Owens always has gotten way more wins than he hasn't. He's won more than he's lost. It's just it's a lot of garnering sympathy for Sami Zayn. He's an underdog character. This wasn't like his NXT matches.
I know,
where Owens just kicked his ass and wiped the floor with him. Zayn was in control for most of this, and then Owens still wins. It just doesn't feel. It feels like an inconsistent narrative.
It's one of those things where Owens got lucky, but this is going to continue. It's not. It's
also just a thing of Owens. This is the third time Kevin Owens has beat him completely clean now.
I get it. Yeah.
Why should Sami get any more chances against him? Why should Sami get in this Intercontinental title picture that they're clearly building towards?
It's a thing where, so in NXT it was just domination by Owens. Now Sami gets in a lot of offense. Sami looks a lot better.
Yeah, maybe.
So the storyline is that he's getting closer. He's getting closer. So that when this pays off for him a year and a half down the road, because the storyline should take that long, if not longer, because there's a ton they can do with that, and I want to watch these guys wrestle forever.
Yeah.
It's going to be that much, more insane.
Oh, Jesus.
Had to do it. Couldn't stop it.
Dad jokes for days.
All right, so good match. IC title match. IC title match was going well. Like I said, clearly they're building up to some sort of fatal four-way thing. They had Zayn and Owens brawling through this thing like fucking Peter Griffin and the chicken from Family Guy.
Which was amazing.
Well played.
But it's just like I said, like Miz gets the win via the second roll up in within 4 or 5 matches that evening, and it's like, remember when pay-per-views were like the endings to feuds and things were definitively decided at the pay-per-views, and the weekly TV shows is when they had all their bullshit finishes. Now it's just like you get nothing but bullshit finishes all the time, and that was one of the things that I disliked about this whole night. But it's kind of started right there.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where, like you said, you expect a definitive ending, but they try to drag it out to another show, because I think it's because they have so many pay-per-views in a year. They have to drag it out somehow, and they, for some reason, they're not able to do it on weekly television. For some reason, they do a bunch of promos, and they try to do that on Raw and SmackDown, and for some reason, they can't get the point across that this feud's supposed to keep going. They're supposed to do a roll-up ending at a pay-per-view. I mean,
to the second one of the evening, through a roll-up ending. And this one was just...
Was it the second one that was the roll-up ending?
Yeah. Miz and... or Ziggler and Baron Corbin in the pre-show.
Yeah, it's... that's another thing we should touch upon is...
Well, I mean...
Baron Corbin.
That was the wily veteran sneaking in the thing against
I hate that.
I mean...
Well, you had the guy look so damn strong for weeks on end, and...
I think he still looks strong. He just had a moment where he faltered.
I guess. It's...
So it seems to me like if you're going to kayfabe wrestling school, like the first thing they should teach your ass is how to kick out of a goddamn roll up. Yeah. Like it's just like it's just such a that's the thing I don't like about it. It's like it's a trope that gets used too often. Tropes in general aren't bad things until you do them so much that you start to notice them. Like the idea of the wily veteran getting a roll up over it. Okay, fine, but it's like Corbin was kind of kicking his ass like the whole way in, and then all of a sudden, like his life meter goes to fucking 0 just because he got friggin' rolled up. I don't know. Like it just doesn't seem, and it's also a thing of just Corbin needs to look like, good. He needs to look strong. He won the Andre goddamn Battle Royal, and now he can't beat Dolph Ziggler in a one-on-one match, a guy who gets beat by everybody.
That's what makes WrestleMania pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that trophy did so much for Cesaro and the Big Show.
That's true. I mean, that's the thing, is that's now, like, the curse of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy is continuing, it seems. But yeah, the IC title match, like I said, it was fine. I'm going to point out, Maurice is like the worst valet ever.
She is not.
She is
great.
Awful. Awful.
Really?
Awful.
Terrible.
Come on.
No, she's
really?
not. Like, she's not Ixana bad.
Here's the thing. Here's what makes her awful. Like, guy having beautiful heel manager, fine. Like aesthetically, it works great. Like, she's gorgeous. She's dressed up ridiculously. The Miz is dressed up ridiculously. Everybody's fine. Everybody's happy. But watch her at ringside during the match.
There's a lack of emotion.
She is not. She doesn't care anything. When Cesaro is uppercutting her husband's face into oblivion, she's just like, and staring straight ahead. And
no
nothing,
psychology.
No concern. No nothing for her husband.
She has so much faith in the Miz's abilities that it's not that she's concerned. She knows the Miz will overcome
it. He's right. It is weird. And honestly, it is extremely weird. But you know what? The promos that they give, I enjoy her when she's with him and they're doing the promos together. They're so ridiculous and goofy. But like you said, when she's outside the ring, she should show some kind of concern for the man that she's with.
But even saying your thing, if she was to convey that in any way, fine. If she while he's getting his face uppercutted off by Cesaro, she's like, no, it's fine, you're fine. Like, if she does anything to convey any sort of emotion one way or the other, whether it's, I'm concerned my husband's getting murdered, or he'll be fine, this is no problem. Either of those are valid things to do, but sitting there with blank-ass neutral expression on your face like you're staring at a blank white wall is not what you do, and that's what she does. And it's even more concerning that she was a wrestler. She was a women's champion. She should know how to do this. She should know how this game works, and she doesn't, or she doesn't care, and I'm not sure which is worse.
Doesn't care is obviously worse. But, I agree. I think there is a lack of... And maybe she'll get better with it, and maybe it's a thing that gets noticed and gets improved upon. But
I got some breaking news from the WWE app. Watch Ric Flair's Rendezvous with a Bear on Camp WWE's premiere. It's available now on the WWE Network.
Does anybody else not care at all about this Camp WWE thing?
I don't.
I have less than zero interest.
Listen, this is the way I described it. If you enjoyed the Attitude Era, you can now watch it in cartoon form, and it takes place at a camp. Enjoy.
I don't care about this. I didn't care about Edge and Christian's show.
I also did not.
And that's what the network's for. It's like, if they want to put filler on there, that's fine.
The Edge and Christian was fine. The one
but you know what? If you're going to talk about you want to make a family-friendly company...
it does seem like it's a mixed message to have an MA-rated show.
Holy crap.
That's why it's only available on demand, not live.
I get that, but it's like...
And they did make a point of saying you can
set parental
controls.
I'm fine with them doing it, but it sends across a weird message.
Yeah, it does.
When, we're havhaving our guys wipe down blood on shows because we want to be a PG-rated product, and then we're doing this. Like, it's just, like, if, you want to try and start the transition away from PG into more edgier stuff, it seems like a weird way to start that, just let your guys kind of work instead of just having to wipe them down every time they get blood, or do more things for your product and not for ancillary things. And the thing is I liked a lot of the different shows on the network. I liked... hang on, I gotta take this phone call from the wife. You guys continue on.
I'm assuming you like Table for Three. What do you like, Perruzzi?
I honestly haven't watched that much. Swerve seemed like it was cool. Ride Along seemed like a cool concept to me. A lot of people were like, man, I was like... You just get to see a couple people just talking about wrestling. Like, there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah, they're shooting the breeze and everything, but...
that's that backstage type of thing that we are all obsessed with on the internet. Like, that's perfectly fine,
Yeah, I mean, you got the, what is it called? Proving Ground? Not Proving Ground. It's a Proving Ground, the NXT show?
Yeah.
I can't recall what it is, but from what I've caught of it, I did enjoy it a lot. But, like he was saying, the whole Camp WWE thing is just a really weird kind of way to take the edgy direction. It's like they're going, well, since we can't do it on the main show, since kids come to watch this, we're gonna do it for an edgy cartoon. South Park's still good, right? Let's kind of do something like that, except WWE guys at a camp.
Yeah.
And even then, South Park did that in one of their episodes. So what's the point of this?
To me, it's just my own disdain for the taking the easy way out with comedy and just using the swear words and the off-topic stuff to achieve laughs and to achieve comedy. It's just, if you talk about things that you're not supposed to talk about, of course it's going to be edgy and can be funny. Be funny because you're funny, not because you said words that I'm not supposed to say. Here,
even I don't want to get too much into it because I'm still in the middle of doing a multi-part article on this. I've got a lot of things going on because I'm too long-winded with things. It's the writer in me. It's the English major in me, just to make things really long-winded and dragged out. But the entire point is, do they need to go to the lengths that they did in the Attitude Era? Absolutely not. They don't need to. Can they still be edgy? Absolutely. And it's not hard. You can do pretty much the same thing without the vulgarity, but you can take it to an edgier place.
I agree.
To do a cartoon is just a little absurd, I think.
I don't mind.
They're almost trying too hard.
And I'm probably exactly. So it feels like they're trying too hard. I mean, I'm probably going to check it out of morbid curiosity.
What it was is, I think, isn't like Seth Green involved in it or something?
Seth Green is involved.
And so it's probably just the thing. Seth Green came to him and like, I want to do this thing, and WWE's like, well, we want your name involved, so you can do whatever you want.
Like I was mentioning to him, it seems like one of those things where they're like, okay, South Park is still popular, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of do that and put it in a camp. But like South Park, you remember South Park did an episode where they were at a camp.
Yeah.
So
I don't mind them doing, like I said, a lot of their shows are really interesting. I think the most interesting shows on the network, like you guys mentioned as I was walking out, Table for Three, obviously is great. Like, it's great when we take a look, like, kind of more into the lives of these people. And I don't mind having, like, ancillary shows that are just kind of bullshit, but, like, it's just, like the Edge and Christian show, like, it's kind of nice to have a show that kind of pokes fun at some of the sillier things back then, but like, Edge and Christian are wrestler funny, but they're not comedian funny. And when they're not wrestling, there's a big difference, and you see that in that. That, and I have kind of an axe to grind against Christian anyways, but it's just like...
He took his Diet Coke.
He's a dick. I've told you the Edge
I remember,
story from
Wait. He took...
No, he didn't take my Diet Coke. No, he didn't take my Diet Coke, but I have...
That was a CM Punk reference?
A quasi-personal interaction with him through an independent show I worked at, where he was very clearly a dick. Have I not told you the
I've
story?
Not heard it.
Okay. That's what the show is for. I worked with IWS, for those of you who don't know. I think I mentioned a couple different times on the site. Back in, like, 2005 through 2007, I probably worked, like, between 5 and 10 shows with IWS, which is the company where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens got their start in Montreal, Canada.
Think about that.
I did ring crew security, things like that, and I have a number of different interesting interactions. But one of the interactions I had was with Christian, who was brought in at the time. He was the NWA World Champion when TNA still had the NWA title.
Yes.
He was the NWA World Champion, and he was set to wrestle in a tag match. I don't remember who he was tagging with. I don't remember who he was tagging against. But the outcome of the match was supposed to be his partner was supposed to lose, and then he get his heat back after the match or whatever. And my friend Scott, who is one of our contributors for our pay-per-view predictions, he was reffing the match. He was a ref at the time. He was reffing the match. Well, first of all, Christian doesn't show up until 5 minutes before the match starts, or before the show. Maybe I'll give him credit and say before the show starts, whereas everybody else is there hours before. He shows up. He tells the booker that he wants his team to win the match. He's going to take the pinfall, and a guy he brought with him is going to ref the match. The other booker kind of was backed in a corner. He had to accept, so they did it. They did his thing, and then Christian left immediately afterwards. So Christian's a prick. Fuck Christian.
Makes sense.
So
you don't think you got him on an off night?
Maybe, but that's the only interaction I have.
I was going to say the impression you left wasn't too good of one. So
yeah, I mean the thing, like showing up just before and leaving right after. That's kind of standard procedure for a lot of bigger wrestlers in indie shows. I won't discredit him for that. It's everything in between that bothered me. But so, yeah, like I said, I don't mind if they want to do some sort of like comedy show or something kind of poking more fun at some of the sillier elements of WB, but it's just, I don't know, they're just not doing it right so
I mean,
far.
if, like we were talking about, if you're going to try to be edgy, moving on to the main product. I mean, like I was telling him, the stuff I'm going to mention later on is if you want to do an edgier product, you don't have to go as far as you went during the Attitude Era.
You're right.
You don't need all the vulgarity. You don't need the allusions to somebody's sexual preference or calling them gay or lesbian. Yeah. You don't need the HLA. You don't need any of that stuff. No. You could just go out there and heat these guys up and basically make them knock the hell out of each other and make it seem like it's, make it just seem like it's look at the AJ Styles Roman Reigns match last night. Even though I hated the SummerSlam 96 booking where the match ended twice.
Restart the match.
Yeah, it was
and then
weird.
Restart the match again.
It was weird, but you know what? The match did wind up being pretty good, and they were knocking the hell out of each other. They looked like they legitimately wanted to kill each other for this prize.
The hottest feuds in WWE right now don't need that edginess to get over. It's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens who have a long backstory.
That's what I mean. There's different ways to do edgy. They
don't need it.
But also though, if you look at the higher end matches of Steen and Generico's feud, there's ladders and blood and lots of violence involved, more so than they have been doing in WWE.
And you don't. I
agree that they don't need it, but they could benefit by having a higher ceiling to amp that violence into if they should need it.
I get that. I guess there's a difference between in-match violence, in my mind at least, in-match violence and, the promo work leading up to the match and what you say during that.
No, they don't. Well, I mean, although Steen cursed like a sailor during his independent days, but he doesn't need to do that, and he's gotten better since then. I agree. Like I said, and like you mentioned, they don't need to take it to the Attitude Era. I don't, like, the Attitude Era, as time goes on further and further, gets less and less. The shine gets further and further removed from it.
Rose-colored lenses. I'm telling you, everybody puts those things on, and they say, oh, it's the perfect time. No, it was far from it.
No.
I mean, it was fun. It had its time. I was a teenager during that time. You were a teenager.
Perruzzi was in diapers.
You were in diapers.
Your ass age as you fricks.
Your ass is getting powdered.
Just because you're 50, Minor.
Do I look 50? I could shave this beard and look like I'm 24. What's that say about you?
How old do you think I am?
You look like you're 16.
How old do you think I am?
A very old 16.
I have a lot of facial hair for a 16-year-old.
I have beard hair. This is looking like a true 16-year-old Perruzzi.
Hey, I'm not. Come on, I've been growing facial hair since I was freaking 11.
You just turned, what, 27? 27?
How old do you think I am, Minor?
Honestly, you look like you're 28.
It's actually exactly right.
See?
So
when I'm being serious, I can be
3 years younger than us.
I'm so much younger than you.
You were in diapers.
I'm from a bygone era compared to you guys.
Your parents were not letting you watch the Attitude Era when it was going on.
Well, my mom didn't. I watched anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. All the while, I'm watching the Mankind Undertaker King of the Ring Hell in a Cell match. My grandmother's on the side going, he's wearing a bulletproof vest when he got knocked down.
I don't think that would matter.
No, it would not matter. Internal injuries do not get covered up by a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Bam!
That's
Splat!
That's not a thing. Yeah, that's not a thing.
For the love of mankind.
Right. Oh, my God.
That got worse, by the way. I'm going to rant about that for a second. That got even worse. It wasn't just that Michael Cole said for the love of mankind. If you watch it, he's very clearly reading off of a script. He's looking straight at the paper. For the love of man, it's why you can't remember those 5 words.
Blue Thunderbomb.
I am not one. Yeah, exactly. I'm not one
traditional Blue Thunderbomb.
I'm not one to defend Michael Cole.
Oh my God!
At all. And yeah, that Blue Thunderbomb call last night when it was a Michinoku driver drove me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And even worse,
Reddit loved it. By the way,
I screamed at this goddamn TV.
Even worse was the fact that this morning I rewatched Zayn and Nakamura, and they did the same goddamn spot. And Corey Graves, the guy who's been doing this for literally 1/10 of the time that Cole was, he's like Michinoku driver. Perfectly.
But he's a professional wrestler. Cole's been in the company 20 years.
Cole normally calls Michinoku drivers correctly. That was just a missed call. But because it's Michael Cole,
well, the thing is,
deal with it.
He does it consistently. That's the problem.
Coming from somebody who has actually done commentary for professional wrestling, number one, I will defend him for the quote-unquote script he has. Every decent commentator has notes.
All right.
You write them before the match. There's certain things you want to say. maybe they were written for him. I'm sure a lot of them were. Some of them were probably written on his own. You have notes you want to say, and also the fact that his table had been blown out at the time, so he kind of needed to hold them. Yeah, agreed.
And the other thing, you got Vince in your ear.
However, if you fuck up calling a Michinoku driver a Blue Thunder Bomb, you say, "Excuse me, that was a Michinoku driver. I'm sorry."
10 seconds later, the traditional Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah. It's supposed to be the extra crispy.
Can we call this the Blue Thunder Podcast?
And like you said, it's not easy. You got Vince in your ear, you got a script in front of you. But at the same time, he's called Taka Michinoku matches where he's ended the match with the freaking move. So it's like, come on, let's be real, man. At least say Scoop Slam pile driver or something, you know?
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, or even you even just call it. You're closer to calling it it's closer to being a body slam than it is to being a fucking Blue Thunder.
Reddit for the rest of the night kept calling moves Blue Thunder, whatever the move was. It was hilarious.
Oh, that was a beautiful Hoovy driver.
All right, so just kind of moving through this. Ambrose and Jericho. Does anybody care? It was fine.
It was fun.
Good. I mean, Jericho's probably going to be gone now. Jericho posted tweeted to see you in a few.
Which I really thought he was going to be stay with from the. I don't know why I thought, but I thought he was going to be with the company for another couple of months until whatever this Nakamura thing.
They'll probably come back then. Although honestly, I mean, if I'm them, Nakamura should be having a more important match. I honestly think that they might have put the belt on Joe so they can do an NXT title match between Nakamura and Joe.
Yeah, they've been going around the circuit. They've been going around.
Yeah, they have been wrestling each other a lot in the live shows.
But the Ambrose Jericho match, I thought it ended exactly how I thought it was going to end. But it was just before it ended. They did it in an interesting way where he gave 2-3 knee shots, and then he spiked him with the dirty deeds, and that was it.
Yeah,
it was a different kind of ending.
I couldn't get into this match. I don't know. It's just I think the majority of it is probably because it was built just through Monday Night Raw, and I don't get to watch Raw live, so I don't know. It just didn't feel it, and just they're feuding over
Micus to Ficus.
Yeah, they're feuding over a television show and they're feuding over an interview segment and a potted plant.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
It's silly and it's funny and I get it, but that's something that you wrap up on a Monday Night Raw, and that's not something you build a pay-per-view level.
Maybe this match should have been on WrestleMania. It would have been better to serve these guys on that show.
That's true.
I still think the match was fine.
It was fine, but I had no real interest in it.
And by the way, did you guys notice...
My love for Jericho puts me on it.
Did you guys notice the spot being repeated during the night where, somebody picks somebody else up in a suplex position, toss them on the rope? It happened at least twice.
I saw it in the Ambrose Jericho match.
There's a couple wrestlers who use it fairly. I mean, Jericho's been using it since he's been back at least.
I don't mind. I'm not one of those people who as much as I shit talk the roll up finish earlier, I'm not one of those people who necessarily thinks that you shouldn't be able to do a spot.
No, I mean that's fine, but it's just weird how I was seeing some moves just being repeated.
It does seem
that
like
just kind of stood out.
Every pay per view, there's been one or two moves that have been kind of repeated. It seems.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed Jericho's tantrum at the end. Throwing the German announce table paper.
I was
kicking the thing.
Vintage Jericho.
I was talking to Eliza Hornblast, our NXT recapper, during that match, and I thought the same thing too. As far as Jericho, throwing the tables, that's funny. That's heel Jericho. But then she was like, "Why is he no selling Dean's finish?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, all right. I can see how it would kind of come from that. Triple H takes dirty deeds and he looks like he's dead.
Weren't we talking about this?
And Jericho's up 3 seconds later.
I'll have to look back and see how.
Weren't we talking about this on the podcast? Well, what was it? The change to the questions on ring psychology?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm positive we talked about this where, after the match, at least sell...
I mean, he was kind of holding his neck and whatever. I can necessarily.
You think he would throw a tantrum and then go, my neck still hurts. I shouldn't have done that.
I can subscribe to the theory that, a move isn't necessarily going to knock a guy out every time. It's just enough to keep him down for a count of 3, and then he can get up and do stuff. But it's another way to look at it, and I can't necessarily...
Jericho's usually very good about that stuff. We had a discussion a little bit in one of the podcasts about him being in a submission hold and making it look legitimate, whereas that same show, Nikki or Brie Bella, that was
the first match with AJ.
Yeah, he was in it. He was
Fastlane, I think.
He was
Fastlane post game.
Looked in pain. So,
right.
So Jericho does most of that stuff very well. So I'll have to go back and watch it because I'm curious. That's an interesting point.
I think it could kind of take it either way. Women's championship match. What'd you guys think?
I think the silence fell.
So before we go to the end, I'll talk a little bit about what I thought about the actual match.
Good match.
Charlotte and Natalya work really good together when they're working technical holds, but when they try and pretend to be luchadors, it don't go so well. Because the beginning of that match was shifty as hell because they were trying to do like the rope hitting spots and the flips, and Natalya can do those, but she can't do those fluidly enough to make them look
a lot
great.
of her stuff is very disjointed. She's a very good worker, but a lot of her stuff just looks disjointed. Like the discus, it's like run, stop, disc, step, then clothesline. It isn't like a...
Not like AJ throws it where everything's one motion, or even Luke Harper throws it where everything's one motion. It's like she spins and then throws the clothesline, and it just looks great.
At least she's not going to run the roast like Kelly.
No, but like I said, it's just she's not...
I get what you're saying.
Those two, they really... Because I even commented when I was watching it, I'm like... There's something off between these two. This feels disjointed. This doesn't feel right. But then when they stopped like banging the ropes every 5 seconds and got to actually like working submission holds and doing technical stuff, much better match.
Yeah.
Like they really started to hit their stride.
You know what?
Where
they actually had the same booking a couple of years ago in NXT. That was at ringside. This is for the
NXT Women's Championship. It was the end of the tournament after Paige forfeited the title.
Yep, same booking.
You expect more?
Except we had the Chicago Screwjob to end this.
Real quick, the one thing you said about running the ropes made me think of the Cesaro match. He went rope, like 3 different times before he delivered a boot or something like that.
Yeah.
He looked like he was going to run through the ropes.
I know.
He was going so fast.
That was the awesome thing about it is that he hit the back rope, and then when he hit the ropes for the corner that Miz was in, he hit the rope so fucking hard he ejected Miz from the corner into the center of the ring. And credit to Miz for waiting until that exact moment to come out of the corner, like that impact sent him out of there. It was perfectly done.
Yeah.
And exactly. I mean, when Cesaro hits the ropes, he looks like he's going to run through them. And then those two, it's just hitting the ropes is not an easy thing to do, even if you've been doing this shit for years.
Enzo, this is how you do it.
There it is. There's the first one. I was waiting for it.
Sorry.
Took over a half hour. It was good.
So that, like I said, they get down to it, and then they do the screwjob finish. And you know what, like... I props to WWE for like it being a little Nate in there, and I guess that's how they're going to do it.
The only thing I liked about it was
like,
Lil
okay, I get it. Like,
we don't have Hebner?
Okay,
Lil Nate is close enough. He was the WCW main ref.
Oh, and he's the disciple of the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yeah, I get that.
So I get that, but it's just like, this is now the second straight show, the second straight pay-per-view of your revitalized, refocused on wrestling women's division, and we have not gotten an important, clean finish.
This is what I'm talking about. WrestleMania, Flair, it was one of those things where, okay, we're going to emphasize the importance of these women, number one, by letting them perform the hell out of this match, okay?
Yeah.
Then we're going to say, here's the Women's Championship. We're going to deactivate the Divas Championship, and we're going to do the Women's Championship. Might not have the same lineage as the previous one, but you know what? With the women we have here, what better way to start? So Ric Flair interferes in that match. So you have these strong women in this match performing, and the weakest one in the match is saved by her father, who was a man, an old man at that, and not taking anything away from Flair. I love Ric Flair, but he's a retired performer.
Did Rick actually interfere with the match?
He held down...
Yeah.
No, in the WrestleMania match we're talking about.
Okay.
He held down Sasha.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But
Mania,
the entire point is, these women are supposed to look strong, and then they're held down literally by a man.
Yeah, literally
which makes
held
them
down.
look weak, especially your champion, who looks weak in the process because her father helped her. And then on top of it, you have the championship, which is presented the next night. Yes. They could have done the ceremony at WrestleMania.
Right. And then you do...
the biggest show of the year.
Yeah, and
they
then
did a ceremony at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they just redid it in a row. And then you have the next pay-per-view, another man determining the end of the match to the strong women's division. And I get it. Charlotte's your heel champion, and she's supposed to be doing hook or crook stuff. But like I said, a champion needs to win clean every once in a while, so they don't just look like a complete and total screw. This was the problem with Seth Rollins.
I'll tell you in a minute.
With Seth Rollins' title run. It was the same thing in the men's division with Seth Rollins' title run, is that he could not win a match cleanly, despite the fact that he was the world champion. Like, you need to have her win fair and square every once in a while. But this is so she, when she had the match at Roadblock, interference from Flair. Women's match at WrestleMania, interference from Flair. Now we have the screwjob finish here. I just don't. Your women's division is filled with good wrestling, but your title is still the Divas title.
And they're starting to slide back even on Raw. They're losing. They had 2 storylines going for a while. They're starting to slide back to 1. Yeah. On Raw, at least. It's like...
I know. I would have loved to have seen... Why wasn't Becky Lynch and Emma on this card?
Who knows?
They were supposed to be having a feud against each other. Why wasn't this... You could have had that be on the pre-show and then moved the U.S. title or Dolph and Corbin to the main... Or had that on the main card.
The U.S. title should have
been the U.S. title should have been on that card. And you know what? Wait, I'm going to make a bold prediction for the next pay-per-view in 3 weeks with the women's matchup, if they have a women's title matchup. I'm going to predict this ending is going to be one referee counts the shoulders to 3, even though the shoulder goes up, and then the other referee comes from the back, and they're twins. I'm predicting it.
Do you think they're going to just go all the way back to the 80s with their shitty finishes?
They went to the late 90s.
See, I think that they're going to do
that. Ref has plastic surgery. Who gave him the plastic surgery?
I think they're going to do the count, and then Lil Nate's just going to feign a shoulder injury on 3, and then that's going to be it.
I'm pantomiming it now.
And that's the thing, is like, you're upping the importance of this.
Bring back Brad Maddox as a
This is this is your co-main event now.
Cocky prick.
This is another time where the women's title match is basically the co-main event of the evening or whatever to the men's title. But and she's a heel champion. But if you're gonna do this and make this shift and make the focus more important on women's wrestling, maybe you should have done it with either a face champion or a heel champion who can just win on her own. And I feel like, and just like it was with the Divas Revolution when these 3 came in the first place, it's like good start and then just backslide. Let's slide back down the hill.
That's the weird part, is that match we mentioned on NXT for the championship between Charlotte and Natty. Charlotte went clean.
Yeah,
what has
Charlotte
changed?
was transitioning from heel to face at the time. She was just kind of tweener. But yeah, I agree. That's the thing. That's why NXT women's matches are still better than your WWE women's title matches, because they can end clean. Your heel can win. Sasha Banks, who was the heel champion for a while, she won her matches either clean, or if she was shady, she did it kind of on her own. Like, she was using her own brains to get through instead of just doing what her father told her or getting stuff set up through a ref or whatever. And it's just not working, and it's just like backsliding further. Like, I don't know what the payoff to this is going to be. I just don't know, but it feels like we're getting like 4 or 5 months of this teasing, and the payoff isn't going to match the build.
There might not even be a payoff.
Speaking of payoffs not matching the build, Vince McMahon comes out and gives control of Raw to both Shane and Stephanie, and this takes a half a fucking hour.
They had to fill the time when Enzo went out.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't trust. No, I agree.
Look me in the eyes and tell me that the McMahons wouldn't have given themselves a half hour on a pay-per-view for this shit anyway.
It would have been maybe 20 minutes.
Think about WrestleMania and what happened with The Rock and that nonsense. I guarantee you.
15,000 hours to fill. Like, that was...
That's bullshit. You could have given each of the other matches 5 minutes more time and then done this. You want to know... I was talking to Minor about this before we started. You want to know, and you don't watch it, but you want to know how this segment goes down? This segment goes down on Lucha Underground? Okay. Vince McMahon is in his office with Shane and Stephanie sitting there. Vince goes, so, you both want control of Raw. You're both my children. You both have rights to this show. Here's what I'm going to do. You're both running Raw. I don't care if you cut each other's throats. I don't care if you get along, as long as you give me a good product. Now get out of my office.
Who is the...
1 minute and it's fucking over. You don't need to do a half hour of shit, and I don't care.
I agree,
who is the Matanza in the background? Who was Vince's Matanza?
I don't know. Big Show, I guess. Kane. It's probably Kane.
I was going to say maybe Kane.
So it's just, well, that means Candle's locked in the cage. Dario Cueto does not leave just Matanza to chill out in the temple. Like, he still keeps his ass locked in the cage. But that's how that goes. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But to burn a half hour and, like I said, filling time for Enzo and Cass, like, you couldn't just have any of those matches gone longer. I mean, Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains was going to go, what? Probably 8 minutes max anyways.
No, I think they had more time to do it.
I don't think, I just, like, the thing is... Also, when you watch wrestling matches, like, Zayn and Owens only went, 10 minutes. Like, that's wrestling matches go quicker than you think that they would.
I was hoping that, that match would have been extended because of
they could have extended that
terrible circumstances.
They could have extended each of the matches 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever to make up for the time. It's just, I don't, and plus they did, it's not like they I think they kind of, they didn't really, like, end any sooner than they did normally. Like, I just don't feel like this would have, I feel like this was the plan all along.
They went right up to the top of the hour.
This segment was going to go, I feel like this segment was going to go half an hour regardless of what
And you know what? It pisses me off. Even though I didn't give a damn about the U.S. title match because it's relegated to the pre-show, why should I give a shit about that when it's relegated to the pre-show? Okay. So it's not even that bugged me as much as during that match, they cut to advertising. Okay.
Yeah, they do that for the pre-show. That's
I don't give a rat's ass. If you got matches going on live, don't cut to a commercial when it's not on television like the USA Network.
Well, the thing is the pre-show is shown on their website.
It is a free thing. It is for people who don't have an advertisement.
I agree. It's still stupid. I don't like it. And they haven't enough time to advertise in the interval. But
if you've got a network subscription, fix that.
Also,
but you got Vince and the family talking for a half hour straight.
I agree.
Give me a damn break.
Okay, but just quickly for the U.S. title, you guys mentioned the U.S. title being defended on the pre-show makes it unimportant. I honestly, if they wanted to make the U.S. title the pre-show title as a way to bring people in, I wouldn't care. I'd be fine with it. That's not what makes the title unimportant. What makes the title unimportant is the fact that they don't do anything with it, and they just have the same guys fight for it 6 times in a row.
I've said that,
and
too.
And then
Ryback's weightlifting belt said pre-show stopper on it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Pre-show stopper.
Exactly. I saw that picture.
Ryback's getting increasingly testy.
The Punk entrance too.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Like I get you're in Chicago. That's them busting Punk's balls, and I'm okay with it. It was just funny. Like
plus, you clearly don't like each other either.
Looks at the watch, does the stupid head hits the watch. It was just like I thought it was hilarious.
Oh no,
Ryback. It's Ryback. Ryback's developing, right? Like that's the thing that's happening.
He's not bad, and that's the thing. Is like
he looks leaner than he did a while back.
He can do good and interesting things, and he has a surprising chemistry with Kalisto, and he has the ability to make a guy so much smaller than him look at his level.
And he probably saved Kalisto from injury on that corkscrew plancha that he almost landed.
Yeah, they almost spiked his face in the apron on.
Grief. That was a great catch by Ryback.
Yeah.
So like, I just think that Ryback's getting a lot better, and it sucks that he's stuck on the pre-show.
But the funny part is. What was
like I said,
when did he debut as a Ryback character? Like 5 years ago when Punk was around?
Probably about that, yeah.
And he was made to be a huge deal, and I don't know if you guys you got to remember.
I remember
he was a huge deal, and they were like, "Oh, he's undefeated." And then come to find out, they were like, "Well, we're not going to emphasize it too much, I guess." And then Punk rolls him up, and then there goes.
It was a little more than just Punk rolls him up. It was Brad Maddox low blows him while Ryback had him shell shocked in Hell in a Cell.
But he has not had the same amount of heat that he had prior to that.
He was thrown into that because of an injury to Cena too.
Yeah, it's just like I said. I don't think being on the pre-match is automatically means that you're unimportant or you're shit. If they were just given decent time to do their thing and develop some sort of story on weekly television, and then they had their match in the pre-show. I mean, like the way I see the U.S. title right now is like the flyweight title in UFC. Like there are certain titles in UFC that they'll have defended on like free shows, and certain ones they'll defend on pay-per-views. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're any less important. And Demetrius Johnson, the flyweight champion, is arguably the pound for pound best fighter they have. He's on route to break the all-time title defenses record. It's just a matter of, as long as you make these things seem important, even if they happen on the pre-show, they're still gonna be seen as good matches. I don't think it being. I think the bad booking of it.
Yeah,
hurts it, and not being on the pre-show.
I don't
think the U.S. title. If they wanted to defend the U.S. title on every pre-show from now until the end of time, I wouldn't care if they just did something interesting with it.
My thing is, championships should be defended on the main show. Okay,
I understand.
If they were going to do anything. And because the Eagles won't allow it, why not put Vince, Stephanie, and Shane on the pre-show?
I guess the idea is they thought that people were paying money to see that, which is bullshit. Nobody did.
Why not space out the time that they did that promo? Why not do it on the pre-show, and then at the very end of the show, have them come out and use their power instead of going, okay, well, they're probably going to use it at some point before the end of the night, because it's, 2 matches before?
That incredibly real moment when Vince McMahon says, I don't care about what anybody else says.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no shit. That was a shoot right there.
Oh my god!
I don't care about what anybody else thinks. Like, yeah, we know.
We are aware.
We know, Vince.
And then right before the show actually ended, you got Vince, Shane, and Stephanie all doing their power.
Yeah, that was
what it reminded me of was like when a television show shows somebody dreaming, or it's like some kind of dream sequence. It seemed like a dream sequence for whatever reason.
It's like kind of like how they closed Lucha Underground, except again not as interesting.
If you're going to take it to an absurd level, take it all the way.
So have they ever straight announced a rematch like at the end of a pay-per-view like that? Like, oh, that's gonna be our next pay-per-view match.
And again, that just like, all right, let's talk about the title match first.
All right.
Roman Reigns won, boo. But honestly, like I said to you last night, was there any scenario in which Roman Reigns would have won that match and we would have been happy?
I'm honestly I'm super happy with the way it went. Like I thought that was.
With it.
I know you guys aren't a fan of the back and forth restarting the match thing. I thought that was very well done.
I mean, I don't think that in itself was well done. I think. What happened after was well done, which was fine.
The false finishes had me jumping off my couch twice.
It was fun. Here's my complaints about the restarts. The first restart tells me that AJ Styles, a 15-year veteran of professional wrestling, is smart enough to fucking break a count.
Exactly. Could have rolled in the ring, roll back out. Yeah. That's what we mentioned last night.
He's not smart enough to break a goddamn count.
That's what Reddit was saying, too.
That's the problem number one.
I'm AJ Styles. TNA does it different.
Problem number two is the fact that he wins twice, but Roman still retains, which means Roman still looks like crap as a champion. Problem three is
these are points I hit last night at our buddy's house.
Problem three is that the finish. I mean, like everybody's saying, like, oh, AJ hit him with 5 finishers and Roman hit him with 1 and pinned him. Like the Superman punch is a valid finisher. AJ kicked out of that. I'm not going to go that far. But the fact is that like AJ nailed him with big things on like 4 or 5 different occasions. Roman, had interference against on his behalf, and that was another thing too. Is that when the Gallows and Anderson pull out AJ, beat up Roman, and then AJ gets in and then Roman kicks out. Why did they not just immediately go back in and continue to beat on him? Like I know the Usos showed up, maybe they were a little late or something, but
they showed up 5 minutes before the match.
It struck me as. Roman Reigns, if you want this guy to be the guy that runs with the ball, fine, but this is another instance. This is Roman Reigns getting put through a table 10 minutes into the Royal Rumble and disappearing for a half hour. It's the same thing. Like
he's not that bad.
He needs so much.
He's booked terribly, though. It's the whole point that he's booked terribly.
Because he lost the match twice, and he needed to have 2 restarts, and then to get his heat back. I don't know.
This is what we talked about a couple months ago. I brought it up a couple months ago that he is booked to look like a chump. And how do you get a guy that looks like a chump over with the crowd? It's bad enough that they put him in matches with Daniel Bryan. They put him in that Rumble match with Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan didn't win it, and they resented Roman Reigns ever since that time.
That's why the crowd still doesn't like
They
Roman
resent
Reigns.
him for that, and they don't even remember why they resent him. I think that's
I remember that match, and I liked that match a lot, and I was fine with the ending of it. That was a Fastlane match.
Well, there was that match was fine, but I'm talking about the Rumble.
He was the Rumble
before that
Roman
the
was in.
Roman was in the Rumble.
Yeah, Roman was in the Rumble. He won it. Right. And Daniel Bryan was eliminated in some weird way, but they resented Roman. They're like, okay, they knew that Roman was going to win it, but
but they did nothing with it.
They've resented him since that time. Now the fans don't even know why they resent him. They just resent him. But he's been booked terribly, so that's part of the reason. And he's just made to look like a massive chump that gets by barely every time, and it shouldn't happen with a guy his size.
Why people don't?
I can believe him. I can believe a guy his size sparing through AJ Styles and putting him down. That guy is massive, and he played pro ball.
That's fine. And like I said, I'm really kind of fine with the end of the match. It's just a matter of the reason people dislike Roman Reigns is because they never picked him, or when they did pick him, they didn't. He didn't get there when they picked him. He got there when WWE said, like, okay, it's time for you to get there. And we've talked about this many different times on the show. The formula for getting a guy over is either starts as heel or is babyface, turns heel, crowd boos him, he works until crowd starts to accept him. He turns face. Off you go. It happens with every guy. They never did that with Roman Reigns, and that's a problem.
You know what's funny about Roman Reigns is there was a time where he was super over. There was a Survivor Series match a couple of years back.
Well, even in the Royal Rumble in 2014, 2013, when he eliminated like 12 guys,
he was super
people wanted
over.
him to win. Yeah,
but it's like they went, "Oh, you like this guy? We're going to push him real hard." It's like we like Daniel Bryan too, but we like him more. And then they're like, Roman Reigns.
Well, yeah, we like Daniel Bryan, then we like Dean Ambrose, and
yeah. But you know what? Roman was one of those guys where he was poised to become a huge star, and he was poised to be over with the crowd. He was, but the problem is, like I said, you got another guy that's simply over more in Daniel Bryan than every guy that they could relate to, and then you got Roman, the big guy, going over him, and it just kind of petered out from there.
Yeah, they should have turned him heel right around then.
I mean, at least they've started to rectify that. Like, Roman's character now actually has a little bit to him. It's like, I don't care what y'all think. I'm just going to do my stuff.
But the funny thing is that even that sounds like just like some cheesy pre-written thing for him. Like, the whole, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy. You say that once, okay, fine. You say that 12 times, it's fucking horrible.
Can we just
it's very clearly scripted.
Can we just stop calling him Roman Reigns and we can just refer to him as the guy?
It's so lame, and that's the thing. It's like, just shut up, Roman. Just shut up and hit people, and we won't care that you can't talk. Just
but that's
do
the problem.
That's what you're good at.
That's not what the company wants.
There was a lot of good...
That's not what the
I know,
bookers want.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is I've never felt like... And there are a lot of people on the internet who shit-talk Roman Reigns, and they hate his guts, and they say he can't wrestle, and I've never believed any of those things. Roman Reigns is a good wrestler.
Yes, he is.
There's a lot of redeeming qualities to the guy. He is somebody who could be someone who could carry that company one day. But... It's not a criticism on him. It's a criticism on how his character is written, and that's what I feel at least the majority of fans are actually dislike.
I guarantee that.
Same thing with Cena.
I guarantee.
Same thing with John Cena.
There was a time where Roman Reigns, he was down in NXT. He could talk. He was a different type of character, but he could talk. But the point is, I guarantee when he's a heel, and if he gets that fire in his belly, he can talk. He can get over what he needs to get over. But the problem is,
that guy probably has a lot of shit built up.
He just kind of looks frustrated, and he kind of looks like he's like, I don't care.
He wants to get out.
He's playing out. He's playing up that he doesn't care. But it just seems like there's a fire inside him that he needs to release, because I mean, if you got arena after arena of people crapping all over you, you want to get that fire out of you.
There was at least one Reigns fan at Payback. There was one side that said, if AJ wins, we riot. And it looked so out of place, it was hilarious.
Was it like a happy riot? Is there happy riot? I mean, that is a thing, too. Like, your team wins the World Series, and then...
It is Chicago, so I mean,
exactly.
I guess not out of the realm possibility.
Yeah, happy rioting. That's how I took that sign more.
There's those... How do you happy riot? I'm happy, I'm going to destroy this person's
People
car.
do it! People do it, though!
Vancouver's done it, too.
White
like,
people.
What?
I'm going to flip a car and send out fire!
That's one of the things I understand the least, is that, yay, we won! Let's destroy a bunch of stuff! Like, what?
It happens.
White people.
They're so excited. Yeah, white people, exactly.
I will never...
And then watch, we're gonna get flack for that, too. Be like, well, what about the other riots? Well, there's reasons.
I woke
anyway.
I woke up to getting shit for the Don't Be Creepy article, because the Auto reposted that last night.
I never did follow up on that.
So I woke up to some fucking, like, neckbeard dude saying that, like, I don't get laid or something like that. And that was
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. That's funny. That's like the funniest thing about that is that article is far and away the thing I've gotten the most heat for. And the arguments that people present are literally the most stereotypical arguments. It's like,
he doesn't get laid.
Oh, they dressed half naked. What do you expect? What do they expect? They want this attention.
His girlfriend's his hand.
You don't have sex with women. That's why you want to defend women. Like, it's like I can't even get angry at
the guy.
It's so fucking funny.
The guy is married with a gorgeous wife, and
don't even. It doesn't matter. None of that matters.
I know it doesn't matter, but it's
none of that matters.
It's like, I don't get it. Like, how do you get to that point?
It's not even.
You can't take the article and look at it and just kind of think, you know what? Let me process this and see like how I feel about it. No, he's wrong. He doesn't get. No.
I wake up this morning, and it was like one of those weird, like okay, to give you an idea, this guy had a Gamergate hashtag on his profile, so that gives you the sort of perspective we're working from here. But this guy's like talking about like word policing, and then he gets all pissy when I call him immature when he opens with saying I don't have sex. Apparently, it's like mixed signals, like. you're fighting really hard for your right to be creepy to women. I don't know. It seems like a weird cause to take up to me, but surprisingly, a great many do.
Well, they go out there and.
Yeah, I've gotten so much shit for that article, but it's also the one that's been like our most popular by like a large order of magnitude. So worth it.
The women go out there, and if they don't like it, they shouldn't.
And here's like I've said this in the comments, and like I said, if you've seen that article, if you haven't, just, you can go check it out. It's like perennially in like the top trending posts on the site. It's so, dear wrestling fans, don't be creepy. Here's the thing: is like if you want to post a picture of like a promotional picture of. Whoever in
Paige. Let's say Paige.
Or like Lana in lingerie or something like they do like that, and say like, "Wow, this woman's fucking gorgeous." I'm not going to complain about that. It's when you post like a zoomed in shot of like Bayley's ass in the middle of a wrestling match.
I would eat that with a spoon.
I'd like to tongue that butthole.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, seriously? Like you are just the creepiest son of a bitch alive. Like, just don't be that fucking guy. And it's just like that's the sort of thing that drives women away from wrestling fandom. And I want professional wrestling to be as accessible to everybody as possible because I love this thing. And when you do stupid, dumb, weird, fucking rapey shit like that, it kind of turns people off, and that bothers me. So that's that. Okay, but
aren't you glad you're out of the Attitude Era?
Absolutely.
All right, the problem is you still have people going, I miss so much they do this shit.
The same people with like Chris Benoit pictures on their profiles, which is a different subject and something else.
Don't get me started on that, please.
So we have the springboard spot through the table was awesome, fantastic. Yeah. For all the shortcomings of this match, the wrestling was great, and that was kind of the theme throughout the evening. Was for all the bad things, the good. The wrestling was solid all the way through.
A lot of the endings were questionable. It's kind of like the way WrestleMania's booked.
Yeah, but we're just sitting there and we're watching AJ, and just like everything AJ Styles does is perfect. Like, he's just so...
Did you ever expect this to happen?
No. And that's the thing is, like,
it's weird.
I was, like, watching the Eric Young debut interview for NXT, and I'm just like, this is the weirdest fucking year ever. Because I did not expect
NXT and WWE is doing TNA better than TNA.
Yeah, well, we're going to see it. We're at a time where half of TNA's
rosters are... And these guys are, like, 10, 15 years older than they were.
Yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura is here. It's just like a weird time to live in, and it's good, and there's a lot of good things to it, but the problem that we're seeing is that the writing can't keep up with what they have. And you want to bring in all these guys who are super talented and super good, but it's starting to get to the point where it's just like you don't feel like you know what to do, and this has been a problem with WWE for almost the last decade or so.
For last storylines, I agree. I don't agree with that, though, for the Reigns Styles thing. Like, I'm okay with... Reigns just finally won the championship and is going to get some kind of extended reign. Everybody gets on his case about his 2 title reigns lasted days. Now they're like, why didn't you drop it to Styles in a month?
I know,
it's
that's what I was saying. There's no way... if you're going to build this guy up for so long, don't take the championship off him so soon. Because... down the line, after he has it for a while, whoever beats him, it's going to mean something more. This guy, he's been put over huge.
So, however, I would counter with the argument that they just shouldn't have had that match right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Don't have that match a month into his reign.
I agree.
Have that match 6-7 months into his title reign. When it's fresh and when it's exciting, and then now you have, like, you can put it on AJ if you want because he clearly deserves it, or you can keep it on Roman, and then you can kind of move to more. I just like they did that, and now it seems like they're gonna at the end of the show they did their little thing, and now they're gonna do it again at Extreme Rules. So is AJ going to win there, or is Roman going to beat him twice in 2 months?
Roman's going to beat him twice,
exactly,
or something.
So AJ Styles is going to be
going to happen where he retains that championship.
And then AJ is going to be 0-3 in 3 pay-per-views in a row. But and that's not what AJ Styles should be.
No, he shouldn't be. But he's white hot right now, and that's the thing is he's so over with the crowd that it's hard to kind of look at it and say, he looks terrible, or they're booking him terribly. But I agree because I'd rather have a guy.
The crowd, they should do things that like everybody uses the examples of The Rock and Stone Cold, and it's like how over would The Rock and Stone Cold have been if they lost on every pay-per-view they were on?
Exactly, and that's the thing that I talk about all the time. It's like you consistently book a guy to lose, he's going to look like a chump.
I can see AJ winning at Extreme Rules.
So,
I can too, but
you just made the argument about like, well, people don't want people complain about his Reign being 2 days, so it's going to be 2 months instead of 2 days.
I can see
2 months is a lot better than 2 days.
I can see it ending in a no contest, to be honest with you.
And then drag it out to...
Unless the match...
No, it's just going to be some sort of stipulation. It's going to be like some sort of
I was going to say, unless the match has a stipulation attached to it.
It's Extreme Rules. Every friggin' match has a stipulation.
Yeah.
Extreme Rules.
There you go.
So... It's going to be some sort of no DQ thing or whatever.
I can see both men getting beaten down.
I think the biggest problem here is that it didn't... Again, this is a thing of pay-per-views used to end storylines, and this literally did nothing to advance the storyline. We still had Gallows and Anderson come out and attack Roman Reigns. We don't know their alignment with AJ Styles. We don't know if AJ encourages this, whether he doesn't, whether they're working for somebody else. We don't know that. Roman's still the champ. AJ stole the contender. Like nothing happened. Nothing happened except good wrestling happened, but nothing happened to further the storyline.
If there's no answers by Extreme Rules as far as their alignment and what's going on, what the hell are they doing? That's the thing. It's like they can't extend this too much further. They gotta give us
a month and a half. It's too long to drag this out.
I'm gonna counter that with everybody's expecting Bullet Club. Balor's getting called up because he just dropped to Joe. They're here. They're going to do Bullet Club. They're going to do. Everybody's talking about it so much. Everybody's talking about it so much that them not doing it is like by proxy or whatever. Them doing what people aren't expecting. Everybody expected like Balor to come out and for them to attack AJ
last night. I expected last night, or at
first of all,
and if
Finn Balor is rematching Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that part notwithstanding, everybody expected the turn, them to turn on Styles now. You know. I think them not going with it and giving, it was kind of a, like, nothing happened finish, but everybody expected so much to happen that because not much happened, it was not what you expected.
I don't feel like giving people nothing at a pay-per-view is a positive thing. Like you saying, oh, well, they're expecting something, so we're going to swerve them and give them nothing. People are expecting something, so we're going to swerve them and give them something different. That's how you do that.
They're just setting up for a slow burn here.
The pause. That's not a slow burn. A slow burn would have been, Gallows and Anderson show up, attack the Usos, go on and do their own tag team thing. And a slow burn is Roman Reigns and AJ Styles having the same match they had, except Gallows and Anderson are standing at the entrance and watching.
Small interactions every week.
And then maybe a week or two later, or the week before Extreme Rules, then they attack Roman.
That's I mean, that's a slow burn. I mean, we get to see 3 more weeks of Styles coming after Reigns. Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing, but it's just a thing of Styles coming after Reigns in the exact same position that they were in post-WrestleMania. It's just they're dragging... There's a difference between doing a long-term storyline and doing a short-term storyline over 3 months. That's what they're doing. That's what all WWE does. Look at like almost every feud on the show with Kalisto and Ryback. Same thing. Kalisto and Ryback want to have 3 matches over 3 months, fine. But they're in the exact same position they would have been in the first month. And the same thing here with Roman and AJ. If they want to do something different, if they want to do a long program between those two, fine. But they're doing a 1 month program over 2 months.
But they've added a wrinkle. So part of the build-up was Reigns saying, you've wrestled all over the world, you've done this, you've never beat me and you never will. Now AJ says, hey, I had you beat. Like, circumstances were what they were, but for all intents and purposes, I beat you twice in the same night. And now Reigns can say, well, I got the win when it mattered. That's another layer. That's another wrinkle to the storyline that's going to give them something else to play off of. I mean, it's...
So how do you play off of that, other than just saying what you just said? The thing is that everybody is trained. Everybody has been so trained and conditioned to think that a count out and a disqualification. First of all, like, oh yeah, you won a match because I punched you in the balls. Bravo. That's not something you really brag about. Like the count out win is okay, fine kind of thing, but then that just points to the fact that AJ was too dumb to break a count.
Yeah, that was absurd.
So those are my problems there. And like I said, I get what they're doing by trying to make AJ look important and strong by having him get effectively 2 wins over Roman, but everybody has been so conditioned to know that a count-out loss means nothing and a DQ loss means even less.
There really was SummerSlam booking.
And it was the fact that he lost.
It's funny.
That's the thing.
It's weird because there was SummerSlam booking with this. So you look back at 96 with the 2 restarts, and then you got the other one with... the count out. This one with the count out, but you got Yokozuna and Lex Luger. Luger knocks him out. Yokozuna's counted out.
Honestly,
it's just weird.
You know how they could have made this better is and they couldn't really do that because then it would have meant that AJ had to come out champion. But it feels better. It would sound better if the heel was the one saying that he got the count out in the DQ victories, and then the face was the one saying, I got the important victory. Because now AJ is basically just grasping at straws. Like, he's like, oh, well, I got you in this and this. Like, the heel should be the one that's kind of like at the who's basically trying to make something bigger out of something smaller. Now AJ is basically just sounds like he's kind of whining and complaining because he couldn't do it the important way, the way he needs to do it, the way he knows he needs to do it. So that's kind of my issue there. Like I said, if you want to do the program and if you wanted to have Gallows and Anderson do something different and then have that play out, okay, fine, but nothing changed from before Payback to after Payback. We're in, with this main event title picture, effectively the same spot. And that's my problem. It's just it's bad writing.
I agree. I mean, part of me is trying to defend it because I did enjoy the show. I genuinely did enjoy the show a bunch. So part of me is just trying to defend it because I enjoyed it and because a lot of people are going to have that thing. So maybe I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit more. But I don't know. Seeing AJ Styles feuding for the world title for 3 more weeks isn't the worst thing to do.
Or here's other thing they could have done: one finish, drag out the match. Even if they ended it at a double countout with that forearm table spot, so neither of them could get back in the ring. And then say, okay, you two, we didn't have a definitive winner here. Extreme Rules match at Extreme Rules. No countouts, no disqualifications. We're settling this. And you had like 20 minutes of wrestling and then that leads to your rematch. Fine, but the fact is we have a definitive finish to this match, and now we're just doing it again. Why? Yeah, that's my problem.
A definitive finish, but one that was mired in a little bit of shenanigans, so it takes away from the definitiveness of it. I'm asking it, not saying it.
A little bit, but not enough, because like I said, WWE fans are so conditioned to know no match ends on a countout unless there's some sort of weird bullshit to it. Normally, the disqualification finish, same thing. It was like AJ had 2 victories that everybody just immediately ejects from their mind as unimportant, and then Roman had the one important victory.
Yeah, you mentioned the spot that could have been held off for 20 minutes, the table spot.
Yeah,
and it's just logical to do it that way. I mean, you didn't even have to go, oh, it's not going to end on a count out, but it's such a brutal match that they could have ended that way, and these guys couldn't have gotten up from that.
We always kiss the ass of Lucha Underground.
Yeah, thank you. I was getting to that.
But about Matanza versus Mil Muertes.
I love Mil Muertes.
They had this match, which everybody thought that they were going to build the whole season for, but they did it very quickly.
Yeah,
Matanza and Mil Muertes, they brawl all over. It's a wild, crazy brawl, and the match ends in a no contest when Mil Muertes throws a flatliner at Matanza on top of Dario Cueto's office. They both go through the roof of the office, and
can't
finish the match.
Was it crazy and absurd? Yes, it was. But it served a point to where...
And it furthers the feud. Neither guy has a definitive win over the other.
Exactly.
They still both look just as strong, and when they have that rematch, they'll have beef because
they're willing to kill each other
between the two.
Yeah,
and it shows... Yeah, exactly. It shows how violent they're willing to get. If they would have done a double count out there, fine, but the fact of the matter is that Roman got a pin over AJ Styles pretty much cleanly because he didn't really do anything illegal. He did. Yeah. I mean, he punched AJ in the balls, but that's much more of an accident than anything else.
And I'm fine, like I said, with the way that the match ended, how he put him down. But like you said, they could have furthered this in a much different way.
Right.
It could have been carried over. Like you said, the table spot could have been held off 20 minutes. They could have been so exhausted and spent that neither one could have gotten up.
Yeah.
So they could have went that route. And do people like that ending? No. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, it would have worked.
Yeah, exactly. Or you have something like they do that spot, and then at the end, AJ or Roman, either or, is going to roll into the ring, and the other one is grabbing their leg so they can't. I think it works better if Roman does that to AJ, but you can have it go either way, honestly. There's ways you can do that without having a pinfall victory that further your storyline, and then that make the rematch seem more plausible.
And this might not
what is the argument for AJ getting the rematch?
This might not be popular, but even with that ending, they get counted out, and maybe Vince or Shane or Stephanie, one of them come out, or all three of them come out and say, you know what? We're not happy with this ending. We're going to continue this at Extreme Rules. It might not be popular,
it's also the fact that you put Shane and Stephanie together, and they hate each other, but then they immediately cooperate perfectly, like literally 10 minutes after they've just been put together. That's another thing that just seems stupid.
It wasn't perfect cooperation. It was clearly Stephanie trying to one up Shane, and then her comment backstage was clearly not to be taken at face value.
No, yeah, I get that. It's just, I don't know. It just seems...
And the thing with what you said is, if they go, okay, we're going to have a definitive answer at Extreme Rules, what does the Chicago crowd do then? They flip the frick out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. Like...
Of course. And there's people out there that are still paying for pay-per-views for $55.
Why do people do that?
Because some people actually don't get the internet at high speeds. There's places
that is true.
There's people out there that still have to pay for dial-up. Yeah, so that's a problem.
There's areas where you cannot get streaming internet.
Even if you go an hour from here, there's places that don't have high-speed internet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. But even so, they don't do it there. But I honestly think even with that Chicago crowd, if they had 20 minutes of a barn burner match, and then you end that, I think that they're okay with it. Maybe they're a little pissy, but who cares?
I just thought the match was very good. Like, the false finishes had me out of my couch.
The match was good. The wrestling was really good.
The one where Roman either grabbed or put his leg on the rope, like, I didn't realize he was that close to the rope. I thought it was it. I was like, yeah!
No, I knew for sure that he was kicking. I
just missed it, caught up in the excitement of the whole thing.
No, the false finishes were good, but it was just a thing of, like, Roman's not getting put down with one of these. That was the kind of the problem. Like I said, overall the show, that was the thing of the show. Good wrestling, weird finishes. And I'm just kind of sick of, clearing my calendar on a Sunday evening to watch these things and then nothing happens out of them.
I think we need to take into account, too, what the pay-per-view is. This is Payback. This is the first one after WrestleMania. WrestleMania, which generally is the start or end of old feuds. Raw is start of new feuds. Like, how many of these feuds do you really want to just end after a month?
I'm not even talking about ending them, but at least move them on in some sort of considerable way. Like it further advance the storyline. Like I said, if you want to do a longer program, fine, but make something happen here that is of note or kind of adds to the narrative, and I don't feel like they did that.
The main event's the one that didn't really add to the narrative per se.
The women's match is what? So Ric Flair has a little H in his back pocket, so now we get to see a women's storyline in which a ref's involved. Yippee.
Like, I don't like it. I genuinely did not like the finish, but there's something else to it, and maybe now somebody can finally get through Charlotte. Look, your dad isn't helping you. He needs to bribe the refs to cheat. Is this what you want?
Yeah, but they need to do that after 5 months.
They should have pulled the trigger on it.
That's the thing.
This match should have been the big crack starting to show. That's what I predicted. That's what I thought they would do. But at least it's another step towards that finally happening.
Yeah, even if and another thing. This is again like advancing things. It's just an example of they could have done stuff. They don't even need to do stuff incredibly differently. Just a little bit different. And it works. Like, if at the end of that match, Ric Flair's got the belt, woo, and hands it over to Charlotte, and Charlotte just, shoves Ric, what was that? I had her.
That's a huge thing, though. And WWE just doesn't make those huge moves anymore.
We'll find WWE show and just be like, what the hell happened? What happened? And then if Ric is, they could have done something where, like, she tapped, she won, it's awesome. And then, the next night, Charlotte watches the replay and goes, I had her. I didn't need your help. I could have beaten her. I was beating her. I was winning the match. Why did you do this?
Heels,
and then start from there. Any of those things could advance things, but we're at the same spot we were then.
I don't know. I guess I still don't have as big of a problem as you do with Charlotte using her dad to win. That's what her character is. Her character now isn't the character.
Do you think last night with this booking, Brett just went can we?
Brett did not want to be there at all.
Can we stop
Brett even said in an interview he didn't want to.
I know. I heard.
Yeah.
I heard
the interview. As he's walking out, I'm he really does not want to be there.
No, because this is the exact sort of thing that Bret Hart hates.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go back 20 years, and that's literally what they did last night. They went back 20 years for the main event. They went back 20 years almost for the Women's Championship ending.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it's a thing of, I don't mind a heel using, like if Charlotte used her father every once in a while, fine. But she uses it every damn time, and you look at Ric Flair, everybody's like, oh, she's a female Ric Flair. Ric Flair did that too. What's the problem? The difference is Ric Flair, in his heyday...
He could get it done in the ring.
Arn Anderson didn't need to show up and save his ass every single match he was in. Every single important match. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, if she wanted to cheat on her own or use little underhanded tactics throughout the match that built up and allowed her to get the finish when she normally wouldn't have, fine. But it's a thing of every single women's match that she wrestles in, it's like... oh, okay, this is probably going to be a good match for the first 10 minutes until some bullshit happens in the finish. Like, I can't look forward to a Charlotte Flair match anymore, and she was one of the bright spots in NXT.
Well, let's say in a couple pay-per-views now, that finally stopped happening. At Money in the Bank, or whatever, that's where Charlotte's no longer with her dad, and she gets a clean win over somebody. How sweet's that going to feel?
The thing is then that's 6 months of her being...
It contradicts everything.
Yeah, but we watched Daniel Bryan struggle for a year and a half until
she's not struggling. She's been on top this whole time.
Well, there's a...
If that happens in 6 months and then she gets the clean win, then it's person she beats is such a scrub that she didn't even need her father this time.
Exactly. It's going to contradict everything that's been going on the last 3-4 months. So... what's the end game here? She's going to lose the championship, and then she's going to have to redeem herself somehow.
Did you not like? Well, I guess you did just say that you didn't like Rollins needing J&J security and stuff as often as he did.
No,
but once J&J security wasn't helping him, and the Authority wasn't helping him, he looked even more credible. Like, yeah, it sucked that we had to.
I don't think he looked any more credible. I think he just stopped looking like incredible. What's credible? He stopped.
Uncredible.
He stopped looking uncredible at that point. I don't think he looked any better when he didn't need that.
I thought he did. I thought it added another level to now.
Because again, the thing was Seth Rollins didn't need it to get that. Charlotte didn't need her dad's help to get that.
Seth needed shenanigans to get the title.
He needed shenanigans, but he was again. It was the idea of clever. Seth is clever and smart, and he did it on his own.
That's how he won the Money in the Bank.
He never. What has Seth ever done on his own?
He won. I'm saying he won the WrestleMania. He won that title. He was smart enough to pick his spot correctly. He's the architect. He's supposed to be the genius that
builds up his dynasty.
Can outsmart his opponents and pick the right time. He did that on his own. He didn't have J&J security to help him.
He won Money in the Bank totally on his own?
No, I'm saying he won the world title.
But that's why he was in that position. So yeah, ultimate opportunist, whatever, he picked the right time. The whole point of him getting there, the whole point of him breaking away from the Shield was him being coerced by Triple H.
He was smart enough to buy in.
Again, difference. Seth's challenger, Seth's champion now. Champion should be able to do things on his own somewhat. And he got that belt on his own. He got that belt by being smart. He was in
position to get the belt, not on his own. He got with a lot of help.
But he got the belt through nefarious means, through his cunning. So, I mean...
yeah, and then he retained it with help, and then at some point down the line, he was able to retain it without it. I feel like it's a progression. But I don't see how that's that bad.
Also, the thing with Charlotte, though, is, like I said, it's going to be a complete contradiction to what's been going on the last couple months.
And Charlotte's in her first year on the main roster still.
But still, that doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to contradict everything that's been going on the last couple of months. And the way to do this at some point is to have another contender beat her, and then she's on the road to redemption. Hell,
that'll happen at some point.
I wouldn't even mind Ric Flair leaving his daughter and trying to follow the then champion and impressing her, and then at some point Charlotte goes, you know what, that's why he was around me, because he wanted to be around...
he was living vicariously.
He wanted to live through me and then be around my money or whatever, but that's something,
I think that will be the payoff at some point, but here's the thing, too. Charlotte's in her first year on the main roster. At some point, she's going to have half a dozen women's championship reigns, at least, I wouldn't doubt. Like, she's going to be that person eventually. It just takes time to build that. It takes time to build that.
Let this one right out.
The problem is, if we didn't have 2 years of her being that person already on WWE television, I could see that. We have 2 years of her being...
I still think that NXT and Raw are separate things.
But the thing is that they tie it together more and more. They reference NXT feuds, specifically with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They reference the Horsewomen and what they do on NXT. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to reference NXT, then you have to reference all of NXT, and you can't just pick and choose. NXT is a different bear. It's not FCW anymore. It's thing where this is, it's a developmental show, but it's a developmental show where you're getting people's characters ready for television. And if it's a thing where Leo Kruger disappears and comes back as Adam Rose, that's one thing. But this is the same character. Charlotte Flair is the same character in NXT who won the NXT Women's Championship. They reference that win. They reference her title. They reference her history with Natalya in there. Okay. And now she's on the main roster, so she has backslid since she went from NXT to the main show.
They also reference Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's past. They don't reference Cena and Generico. They don't reference them by name and what they were and stuff.
Right.
They make mention that it happened in the past. I saw that.
That's why
I'm not... mention that it referenced it in the past. Sorry, they referenced that it happened in the past, but they're not the same character.
But that didn't happen on WWE television. WWE is treating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn effectively as it really started in 2014. They used to battle on the independents, but that's all they ever say. They don't mention the ladder war in Ring of Honor. They don't mention the fact that Sami Zayn used to be El Generico. It's basically everything started in NXT. It's mind going.
They do have a long storied history going back to 2014.
Yeah.
I think Charlotte's just a different character right now.
But she's not, though, because they redid the same match that they did when Charlotte was first starting off, part and parcel, where she's with her dad and Natalya's with Uncle Brett. She's not a different character.
Yeah,
she's the same person with the same name, with the same moves, with the same everything.
That's when she was starting out, right? That was earlier in her NXT days?
Early-ish, yeah.
Early-ish. And then what happened? Eventually she broke apart and became the person you wanted to be now. So it's the same thing that's happening.
She didn't break apart back then. She won that title on her own.
I think what you're saying is that...
She didn't have help from her dad.
What you're saying is she's the same character. What you're trying to say is she's got different characteristics.
Yes.
So,
she's the same person. She has the same name. She has the same moveset. She's a different person. That was 2 years ago. She's 2 years older.
She's worse. She's worse than she was now. Or she is worse than she was back then.
In your eyes.
She has backslid. She could win matches against these women 2 years ago, and she can't win them anymore. That is objectively worse.
She's winning, so what if she's using her dad to do it?
That is objectively worse. She
knows that using her dad is going to work.
She could beat these women on her own 2 years ago, and she cannot beat them on her own anymore. She is objectively worse than she was in that.
Like, I get what they're trying to go for with the whole dirtiest player in the females division, but they're going about it the wrong way.
She's not the dirtiest player. Her dad's
the problem. Player. They're trying to build it up like that, but they're using Ric Flair, who is the dirtiest player in the female division.
Okay, that's the problem. If you're Charlotte Flair and you're trying to hold on to this championship for as long as humanly possible, and you know that having your dad in your corner, having your dad cheat to help you win, is going to help you do that, why wouldn't you use that thing that's available to you?
Like I said, the problem is that she needs it all the time, and that if you're trying to build strong women characters in a division, you are doing it wrong. Like you're talking about.
I don't disagree.
You're talking about kayfabe, and I'm talking about the meta. Essentially, we're kind of arguing on two separate levels. Like, I get what you're saying from the perspective of her character, but I'm saying from the perspective of if you're a person who is trying to write a good story. You don't write a good story by just telling the same thing over and over and over again, especially when this character has gotten worse. If you want to go through that argument, I would like to know why Charlotte Flair feels the need to employ her father when she didn't need him when she was less talented and less experienced.
Because the competition she was facing then was in NXT, the lesser
They're the
division.
Same people.
They are the same people.
They're the same fucking people.
They're the same people. Yes, but it was in a division that was, by alleged definition, not actual skill, but by alleged definition, lower in class.
Again, this works if they're not the same people. They're the same people. She beat Natalya clean as a whistle 2 years ago to get that belt.
Natalya 2 years ago.
Exactly. So she's improved and Natalya's improved, but they're still at the same. They should still be at the same level. Why does she feel the need to cheat now? Why didn't she feel the need to cheat then, and then she breaks out of it, and then she's on her own now at this point?
That was...
It's the same.
It's talking going back to kayfabe again, but that was when she was starting to turn face, right?
Okay, so the progression.
I think the point is. I think the whole point with her doing this now with Ric Flair is so she's guaranteed to retain the championship. That's the reason. But
and here's the thing: is that even when Charlotte was a heel in NXT, when she was aligned with the BFFs, Sasha Banks and Summer Rae, she didn't really use them all that much. She may have used them on lower end preliminary matches, but when it came time for her, like her title tournament wins, were all clean. They were all on her own. She did them on her own. She had those wins by herself. So it's just a thing of, like I said, her character. I don't see how you can make the argument that her character has improved in 2 years when she can't beat the same people that she was beating 2 years ago without the help of her father.
That's not so much the argument. The argument is if
it's
you
regression,
have
man.
A tool at your disposal to use that guarantees that you stay the champion, it would be unintelligent not to use it.
So the two things that comprise a Flair are the dirtiest player in the game, but they also think that they're the best. That they're the best of all time. And the fact that she can't win any matches on her own at all means that she's all of A and none of B.
She'll get there. Give it time.
She was there already!
In NXT.
She was already fucking there!
In NXT, not on the main roster. I think the level's spiked.
Yeah, the level's spiked.
I mean,
R.I.P. headphones.
I mean, I get what she's trying to do because she's trying to retain that championship in any way she can.
It's lazy writing.
Of course it is.
It's lazy writing.
It's WWE. That's part of the
game. I know,
game.
and we can't accept. That can't be acceptable. We can't just go, oh, that's okay, because then why are we doing anything?
It's not okay.
Why am I running a website? Why are we doing this show?
But I just don't know who they're going to get over on her because, God, it's.
At some point,
they've been fooled for so long, and they've been,
At some point, it will happen.
But they've been fooled for so long. They've been fooled for so long, and they've been look weak for so long. That's the problem.
At some point, they'll break apart. At some point, that'll happen. At some point, Charlotte is probably going to be the thing that I'm hoping she should be, and we're going to be on the same page. But until then, that division, that book that's being written about that division is suffering. It is filled with matches that don't matter. And that's the problem, is if we were just telling the story of Charlotte Flair as a singular entity, okay, fine. But we're not. We're telling the story of the women's division. And since that division has had its debut, we are taught to learn that no matter what happens between those ropes, none of it is going to matter. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
I think there's a lot bigger issues with that, as of late especially, than Charlotte using Rick to win. I think that's them abandoning multiple storylines.
I'm telling you,
one match on the pay-per-view. I think those do a lot more to hurt credibility. And Sasha and Becky disappearing after they put on a great WrestleMania match, all this stuff, that hurts by several orders of magnitude more than
right. And I'm telling you, Rick is going to throw a sports bra on and win that championship.
Again, moving to what they could have done is like if after WrestleMania, Shane, who's running the fucking company now, despite his loss to The Undertaker,
like I said, WrestleMania was fucking pointless.
So
didn't matter.
The next night, Charlotte comes out with her big celebration. Then Shane comes out, or Stephanie, who's championed this division for this whole time, and goes, "No, you didn't win that fairly. You needed your old man to help. We're rematching this, or we're doing this in some sort of other way, and he's barred from ringside or something like that." But they didn't. Like you said, Sasha and Becky fucking vanish, and we move on to Natalya to redo the much, much better match they had 2 years ago with the same people around ringside, and it's just objectively worse. That's the problem. It's like I said, we're writing a division where the matches in the wrestling don't matter, and the whole idea of this division and the rebranding of it is that women's wrestling is supposed to matter. You are sending mixed messages, it's backwards, and it sucks.
That's what, and I know that you'll yell again about, that's what WWE does, and I know that's not what we should expect from them. I know it's not.
It's not about what we should expect. It's not what we should tolerate. I agree. We need to call them out every time they do this.
I think we do call them out pretty frequently for that.
Right, but I'm never going to be one of those guys who thinks, "Oh, this is just stupid wrestling." Because then why? Like I said, why are we doing?
I don't think it's just stupid wrestling. I think it's WWE. Like, unfortunately, our expectations are tempered. Should they be? No.
They shouldn't be tempered because, again, like we said before, Oh no, it was when we were talking about how like WWE is just booked for casuals and things like that, and not booked for the diehard audience. That would be fine if WWE did not loudly and clearly make the claim every opportunity they get that they're the best professional wrestling promotion in the world. When you make that claim, fine, but when you make that claim, you need to back it up, and they don't. What the hell's nothing? All right, keep going, guys.
Anyway,
Mike, your thoughts?
You know what? It's not easy to book a professional wrestling company week after week, show after show. And I was going to say, they have Raw, they have SmackDown, then they have the pay-per-view. They're going to have another pay-per-view in
3 weeks, which is silly.
Weeks. Okay? It is absolutely not simple to book a professional wrestling company on a consistent basis and come out smelling like roses. It's not possible. But
Paul would yell and argue otherwise, and I agree. I think that they have I think 10 pay-per-views is a much better number than 12.
But they can be a lot more consistent, and they can think it out a bit better. It's tough because you expect because you've seen better from them. You expect better from them because it's possible. It's just. I just think to a point it's not acceptable, but like I said, it's not easy to keep booking this stuff week after week, show after show, pay-per-view after pay-per-view, especially when you got pay-per-views 3 weeks apart from each other.
Which is silly.
We expect more from them because we've had better in the past. We know it's possible.
We will have better in the future.
It's difficult, but at the same time, it's not difficult. You can change this stuff at any point. And Vince has done stuff where he's changed things on a whim. The NWO angle after Kevin Nash went down years ago. He said, all right, we're going to end this. ECW, as a brand, ended when he said, all right, we're going to end this, and next week's going to be NXT. They have the power to change things at any point, but you can't do it
that changing things that frequently sometimes is a bad thing because it's a lack of...
You can't do it all the time.
It's a lack of thought. It's an impulse decision, not a smart decision. What if...
Benoit, because the Chris Benoit death, Vince is in a limo one week, blown up, and then... We're sorry, guys.
Well, that's a massively extenuating circumstance.
I get that. But you know what? When something has to be changed, they can change it.
What if this happens? What
they
if
pussyfoot around and say, it's not that bad. It's not. It's basically like they're saying, it's not that bad. We'll just get through this. They can do better.
What if on Raw tonight, Charlotte comes out with Rick and says, "I know I won the match. I know you did what you had to do, but at the final thing that happened in that series of events was Natalya putting me in the sharpshooter and you being put in the sharpshooter by Brett. Why is that the last thing that happened, and what's going to happen moving forward?"
Okay,
if that happens, does it?
I think it's better. Yes, but you want to know what's going to happen? Ric Flair's going to come out with Charlotte. Woo! They're going to come out with Lil Nate in his Lil Nate robe. Woo! And hooray! That's what's going to fucking happen.
That's not even bad.
Listen,
you've added another element. You've added
another method of cheating to somebody who already has an invincible cheating device. Apparently,
yeah. It's an iron curtain of cheat.
Yeah.
Lil Nature's going to come out in a robe, but it's going to have ref stripes on it. I'm calling
it. Like I said, it's that's the thing.
He's not coming out in a robe.
She didn't need
his underwear stripes.
She didn't need that. It would be a different thing of if she had
all refs do.
Again, we're just slipping in the fantasy booking, but she goes into some sort of sustained feud with a wrestler, and then so you have the first match, Flair cheats. Second match, Flair, you're barred from ringside. Lil Nate is the ref. Screw job. Okay, fine. But why? But they're just stacking the layers on top of things when she already has the invincible cheating device that nobody is checking and nobody is trying to stop. So what's the point of it? She just found 5 different ways to cheat when she only needed one.
So the impossible cheating device, or however you worded it,
invincible cheating
device, having Brett at ringside neutralized that. So they had to go.
They didn't do that. They didn't have Flair try and interfere and then Brett duffed him. That didn't happen.
That should have happened, I think.
But you know what? But still, I think it was expected.
Because there was an equalizer there, now they had to go to the next level. At some point, they're going to run out of levels to go to. At some point, going to be...
Like you said, I get it. I get it where they go...
a year from now, and that belt is going to be so fucking devalued.
It won't be that long.
Like the U.S. Championship?
We're looking 6 months into this at this point. with Charlotte's reign combined divas and women's title.
Like I said, I can agree.
Of this.
I can agree with him on the point that Brett's out there, Flair's out there.
2 months, I thought 3 months.
Brett's out there, Flair's out there, and in order to avoid Brett doing anything to take the championship away, they went with that ending last night. I get that they wanted to do something different, but the way they went about it was just overdone. It just kind of hokey, and then it just disgusted me. But and on top
like
of it, where the hell is Anvil? Where is Jim Neidhart know this? I mean, it's her fault.
She won at Fastlane, so yeah, we were going into our third.
Legit though, Anvil is Natty's father. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Why can't Ric Flair go in the ring and try to interfere, and then Anvil scoop him up and just slam him into the mat with a Anvil flatter like that power slam,
carry him off.
Yeah,
for that matter, because Anvil's actually not exactly in shape, but he's not a stroke victim and cancer survivor.
No, he is
at this point. Maybe we can use him.
Oh, I guarantee that guy can still lug stuff around.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing. He can still pick up Rick goddamn Flair.
Yeah.
Like I said, this all just again just kind of ties to the narrative that these are supposed to be. This is supposed to be a women's division and about these strong, awesome women's wrestlers. And since its inception, dudes have been making the calls. Have been the reasons that matches have ended.
This match, or not this match, the whole event just reeks of, we're going to do it this way and coast on to the next one. It's kind of how WrestleMania felt.
Yeah,
they're
going
to book it like this and coast on to the next one. WrestleMania is the ending point.
We need to wrap this up because we still have time more.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like the overarching problem with all of this.
Where are they going to
they're stalling for time. Yeah, they're stalling for time.
Are they trying to go to SummerSlam?
They're not advancing the stories, and they're just wasting time. But
they think they're advancing them by stretching them out so long. But sometimes you can stretch things out too thin and make it not matter.
I agree. Perruzzi, any final thoughts?
My voice is getting shot.
Mine too. We still have, like I said, we still have time up to record. So,
anyway,
nothing.
I think I've said as much as I can say without us going in circles again about this. So,
all right,
Disco Lemon.
All right, yeah. So this just became the podcast of Charlotte Flair, the Charlotte Flair show.
The saga continues.
But we
got a little.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know what you think in the comments. Be sure to check out all of our other shows that we have going on. Today, Monday, Time Warp will be coming up later tonight. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Change the Questions. Wednesdays, we have Booking About a Wrestler. And Fridays, at some point, I promise I will get back to Let's Play TEW. Also, check out Changing the Questions, changingtheQs.com, changingtheQS.com, where I will have my full recap of NXT Payback. And we have articles and
NXT Payback or WWE Payback.
Wishful thinking.
Called it.
Wishful thinking of WWE.
Remember,
Payback.
they're two separate things, Paul.
I wish they were.
His voice is shot. His brain is fried.
I wish it was just all NXT all the time. Where I have the recap of WWE Payback, and we'll have articles and recaps for. I think we have all of our WWE programming essentially covered, with Mr. Perruzzi doing our Monday Night Raw recaps. Eliza Hornblast doing our NXT, and then Earl Marks doing our SmackDown recaps. And why are you pointing at me?
Well, at least it's not as bad as when Sami Callihan went back to 2CW and he called the 2CW Championship the NXT Championship. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, not the same thing.
Watch that. Seriously. If you get a chance, he goes, the NXT Championship. And everybody just went.
Did you see the advertisement for... This is okay... Did you see for 2CW One Night Stand is supposedly going to be New Year's Eve of this year?
Yeah, I saw that.
Hooray. Aren't we excited?
I like
I can
that
hear
company,
the excitement.
Man.
Woohoo.
I can't dog the company,
but
man, just why do they do these weird times? Right. And even if it's a one-off show, it's a weird time, man.
All right. That's gonna wrap it up. All right. So yeah, check out all of our shows. Check out changingtheQs.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so. Same handle at changingtheQs. If you want to like us on Facebook, you can just search for Changing the Questions there. If you want to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do that, changingthequestions@gmail.com.
What about snail mail?
No, you're not sending shit to my home
damn it,
address.
I want a fan club.
You want to open a P.O. box, you go ahead and do it. And we'll put that up on there.
I was being facetious. Right. Anyway.
So for my partners, Daniel Perruzzi, woo! And Mike Miner, my name is Paul LaPorte. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Look out for the Van Hammer Appreciation Show later on.
Goodbye.
Bye.